What's up, this is David, and today I want to talk to you about giving zero Fs about views, giving zero Fs about likes, and maybe even giving zero Fs about followers. So our main North Star is getting clients and getting client results, right? We're not in this to necessarily become popular. We're in this for profit, okay? It's profitability, not popularity. And so I remember, and I'm referring to some of my notes here, excuse me, but I remember watching Alex Hormozi, and he had a recent video where he was at the school games and he was sharing about his top most viewed videos, right? And of the top his top six videos, they were not the most highest income producing videos. In fact, his highest income producing videos were ones that got way less views, right? Way less views. So it's not about the amount of views. We shouldn't use like a mainstream like freaking like YouTuber strategy for our business. This is a completely different thing. Like we shouldn't be using a MrBeast strategy for a high ticket coaching service business, right? It's a completely different thing because we have to make every view count. It's about efficiency of the view, right? Because we want to target the right person, right? With the right view. Okay? And because we do that, because we're telling the algorithm, hey, I want to attract this very specific type of person, then the algorithm will feed into itself, right? It'll become a flywheel and thereby show our stuff to the right person and not to like the freaking entire world. And the thing is, I don't think we should oppose virality, but even if you go viral, it's like a bunch of those views are gonna be like not the right people anyway. You know what I mean? And it's gonna like signal to the algorithm that, hey, show it to these kind of people, right? So I remember a marketer, he was saying like, he hates it when he goes viral. He hates it when he goes viral because that's when he gets the most hate comments in the comment section, and he gets like the most broke people in his videos whenever he goes viral. And of course, obviously, he doesn't make a lot of money from the ones that goes viral. And in fact, it's the opposite, right? It's like the ones that get like the lowest amount of views is the one that makes him the most amount of money, right? So I also remember Sam Evans, and it was the same freaking video, the school games video. He was talking about like how he was messing around with like the discovery feature, right? And that if people have like search, because like he discovered that the discovery section, a lot of it was search based, right? And whenever people search for something, because whenever you search for something, you have high intent, right? And so that converts a lot better than somebody who doesn't search. So that's why Google SEO and even YouTube SEO, it has like that search function may attract a way better quality of person than something that's like interruption marketing based, such as like Instagram or like TikTok and stuff like that, right? So we have to target the right person, right? We have to target the right person. And so I talk about it a lot, but we have to create content for whales, right? We're trying to surf with whales and not fishes, right? And we call it the hook, right? So we call it hook because it comes from like fishing, right? It comes from the fishing world. And here's something that freaking was like a big light bulb moment for me. And it was like that saying, when you change your bait, you change your audience. You change your bait, you change your audience. So a lot of us, we're using fish bait, right? We're using fish bait. We're using like, how to get the most views, how to freaking go viral, and how to feed our ego and like get these empty likes and followers. But when we switch that to using whale bait and whale content, and really speaking to, and it doesn't necessarily have to be whales, but just speaking to our right specific target audience, then that changes things. That changes the entire your freaking channel or like your freaking whole entire ecosystem, right? And it changes your world just because you change the bait, right? So it's like fishing. It's like a real example. Like it's fishing, right? It's like when you have like a small bait, like and then you trying to attract like the masses, like trying to attract like small fish, you will attract small fish, right? But then all of a sudden when you change the bait and then you use like, I don't freaking know, like tuna bait or something, right? Then you will attract bigger fish, right? So it's like the same analogy that applies to fishing can apply to our world, to our coaching world, right? So like even think about that word, like viral. It's like a virus. It comes from a virus, right? It's like, do you really want to become like a virus? Like, do you want to become like a copy of a copy of a copy? It's like maybe instead of doing that, maybe we should provide like medicine, like provide a fix to the problem. You know, a fix to your specific audience's problem again, right? And a specific problem at that, because like I find that the more specific problem that you have, the tighter the whale or the tighter the bait, right? Because if you want to catch a specific fish, you gotta use a specific bait, right? So like in our case, if we try to solve a specific problem, we will attract that very specific type of person. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Would appreciate a like if you are enjoying the content. And if you are an established online coach and want to learn more about this feel-good marketing-based business for your coaching, then you can subscribe to this channel for more content like that. And we emphasize creating a business based on leverage and not labor. And we emphasize creating a lifestyle, freedom, high profit based business. And I believe we can have all of that and more. So if you are into that stuff, if you vibe with that kind of stuff, then please subscribe for more. And back to the vid. So I know that we have Instagram and like TikTok, and that's for like top of funnel, right? But when people want to go deep, usually they watch more of the long form stuff, such as this, right? And another way we can attract some of our ideal clients is through search intent, like that Sam Ovens example that I gave, right? Search intent is a way higher quality, in my opinion, way higher quality of a target, and also it's like warmer. They're like way warmer than just like interruption type of marketing. But of course, they both have their place, right? Like you don't want to neglect, like Instagram ads because it definitely can help, right? Can help get traffic. But I like using both of them at once. And the thing is, like, you don't have to really create anything extra. It's like you're using the same content, but you're just using it in a slightly different way. So we're like being very efficient with our content, right? So I also remember Sam. He was mentioning that like some of the top podcasters, such as like Lex Friedman, for example, he has an extension, like he has a Chrome extension that purposely hides the views, right? Because he doesn't want to see the views, because it kind of like affects his mindset when he's like interviewing somebody. And not only that, but then like even though a person might not get that many views, like it might be a fucking genius, right? It might be like a genius, like unknown person, but just because he got less views doesn't mean his words are worth less. You know what I mean? It might even be worth more. So another thing that Alex was saying, he was saying like, you should be targeting your avatar, but then also like, it's like providing value per second, right? Value per second for your target avatar, right? And you got to really think about it like that. Instead of like, trying to like, how do I freaking make a viral video? It's like, how do I freaking provide so much goddamn value to this, like 200 people that are watching that I can freaking serve them, right? Not only can I serve them, but then they will come into my world, into my ecosystem, and then I can truly help them out once they get into my world, right? So another way we can also do this is to have an opinion, right? Like portray your worldviews, your philosophies, maybe like your high-level strategies, because again, that attracts a different kind of person. Like the non-serious people, the non, you know, like the fishes, like the sardines as I call them. They're in it for like the instant gratification, right? They're not serious. They're tire kickers. They're freeloaders. You know, they're just watching for entertainment purposes. But I find that in order to attract more of a serious type of person, like show them like your philosophies, show them, you know, like your worldviews and your personal beliefs, right? Like have an opinion, right? Having an opinion just not only does it attract the right people, but it attracts people with similar values, right? Similar values and beliefs, and that's who you want in your tribe, right? In your coaching program, even especially if you have a group program, right? Don't you want people that you just freaking vibe with, and that you align in like philosophies and beliefs and values with, right? And just sharing that will attract that kind of person. And again, like I said before, once you attract that kind of person, it's a feedback loop. It will feed into the algorithm, and the algorithm will show your content to more of those kinds of people, and you'll have a freaking economic flywheel, as Jim Collins calls it, right? And also be opinionated, right? Be opinionated, and like, I'm assuming like an established coach here, right? You are my avatar, right? You are my avatar. So over time, you have acquired judgment, and you have acquired taste, right? And Naval says this, right? Like, you are getting paid for your judgment. You are getting paid for your taste. And over time, that becomes like a gut feeling. And people will pay for, you know, that good judgment you have developed over time, right? They will pay for your expertise to help them to transform, right? And you gotta like lean into that. And you gotta like sometimes have a contrarian belief, right? You gotta like, Taki Mori calls it throwing bricks at windows, right? You gotta like, you know, like you gotta see something that's maybe, you know, like a traditional way, and then just having an opinion on it. Just be like, yo, I don't think that's, I think there's a better solution than that. And you just freaking throwing a brick at it, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know if he meant it this way, but it's kind of like that, the scene in Home Alone 2, where the two robbers, they were robbing the toy store, and then the main character, Kevin, he's outside of the toy store, right? And he sees the robbing happening, right? And then he has a brick in his hand. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna freaking throw this brick at the window to, you know, sound the alarms and like, you know, alert everybody, right? So it's kind of, we're kind of doing that with our opinion, right? If you want to use a hook, why not use something like that, right? Like, hey, I have a different opinion on this. And so maybe the right target audience, they will vibe with it, because again, our ideal avatar, we share similar values and beliefs and worldviews. And so I believe that's a good way to, you know, attract more of your target audience, right? And so I want to say, we shouldn't be creating content for the purpose of creating content either. Like, you know how they tell you, like, you gotta post like 10 times a day, you gotta do this and do that. But then if you do that, you become a slave to the freaking algorithm. Like, you become, it's another like slave problem. You know how that people are saying like, hey, AI is gonna take over, like robots are gonna take over. But the thing is, they kind of already have in a way, because if you're, you know, trying to produce like, you know, 20 pieces of content every freaking single day, you become a slave to that content production, right? And so AI is the master, and you have become its slave, haven't you? So it already, that scenario already kind of exists if you're doing that. So I just hated that. You know, when I created content for the sake of creating content, not only was it freaking bad content, but I attracted the wrong people, and I never made money from that. You know what I mean? So I like how Taki put it. He's like, create something when you have something to say. Like when you have something to say, like when you have a take on something, right? Because people can feel that energy. Like people can feel like, hey, I have something to say about this, and I want to express myself. Okay, and it's cool that if you don't, vibe with it, but then it's just one person's opinion, right? Like this video, this is just my opinion on things, right? And just me being opinionated, right? So let's not become slaves to the algorithm. Okay, like we're trading like one hamster wheel for another hamster wheel. We shouldn't be doing that, So remember my take on my philosophy on the whole sales call thing is I hate the sales call, right? And we shouldn't be slaves to the sales call. We shouldn't be slaves to the sales team. But then if we escape that hamster wheel and then latch onto this hamster wheel of like trying to produce 20 content pieces a day, that's not it either, So of course, we shouldn't neglect not creating content. We still have to do that, right? But we have to do it within our means and just producing something that you're really proud of, right? Producing something that you're really proud of, that can help other people, that you're targeting the right person, and something that is an asset that you can use over the long run, right? So I believe like when you combine all of that, then yeah, I mean, like these like videos that I'm making, like what I see them as is I see them as pieces of art. Okay, I see them as pieces of art, and I know sometimes it might not be the perfect painting or whatever. Like especially this video, I'm like kind of all over the place, to be honest. But I see like a mini art piece, right? Like a mini art piece that I have in my collection. And if somebody wants to watch it and they vibe with this kind of philosophy, let's work together and help make your coaching program into more of a prosperous space and more of a fun space and more of a freedom space, like I like to say, right? So you got to make shit you like, but then at the same time, you also got to make shit they like. So it's like a Venn diagram, right? Shit you like, shit they like, and then right in the middle is kind of like where you live. And sometimes it's like a pendulum. Sometimes you swing back and forth. Sometimes it's all like, shit that they like when you're like doing like a launch or something, and then sometimes it swings the other way. Sometimes it's like all shit you like, and sometimes it's like, a lot of times it can be in the middle, right? And sometimes you'll hit, sometimes you'll miss, but then I guess that's the content, that's the game of life, to be honest. That's just the game of life, right? And then of course you take bets, but then again, don't try to make like 30 pieces of content a day. That's like taking 30 at bats every single day. We're gonna get fucking tired, we're gonna burn out, right? So maybe like go in like baseball is a good example. It's like take at bats, but then have some rest time, have other people do the batting, and then when it comes to your turn, go at bat again. Maybe that's a good cadence and rhythm for your content creation. Okay, and then I think if you do it right, you're really stacking assets, right? You're using leverage, right? So that this becomes one to many. You're putting your content out there, you're marketing stuff out there. And you're not doing the sales calls anymore because that's very unleveraged, right? And then you're like attracting people into your world, and it becomes this feel-good marketing. I like to call it like feel-good marketing, and just using that pull energy instead of just trying to push somebody over the edge and trying to make a high-ticket sale, right? So yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say for this one. And if you vibe with the stuff, if you vibe with this worldview, it's very meta, right? Very meta. I'm like practicing what I preach, right? If you vibe with this worldview, this philosophy of creating a marketing-based world for your coaching biz, then please subscribe for more stuff like this. And also you can check out, some of my other videos that I think can help you out in your coaching biz. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and talk soon.